Welcome back to How China Works. I'm Brendan Davis, your host, and our other host, Yingying Li, will be with us in just a few moments. I'm coming to you this week from a very echoey Airbnb in Paris. I've been here a couple of weeks. I have about a week left, and I've been doing my day job, which is primarily as a film producer, which makes it even more ironic that I was not able to join Yingying in Beijing for this interview in person. This week, we have as our guest, Mr. Mike SUI. Mike is a comedic actor, and he is very well known in China, especially for his hosting gigs, his viral videos. Most recently, you can see Mike co-starring in the science fiction hit The Wandering Earth. I am actually really excited to see that film myself. I haven't had time to see any films lately, and I don't believe it's playing around the corner where I am, but hopefully I will be able to see it soon. Ying and Mike had a very interesting and fun yet thoughtful conversation. Mike is multilingual, multicultural, and he really does stand at this intersection of East and West, which is what this show is all about. We were very happy to have him join us. He has a lot of insights, and it's a great conversation. Don't forget that you can visit How China Works podcast at any time, day or night, to find out more about the show, to contact us, or to find out more about our guests. Please visit the resources page. There are links about Mike as well as previous show guests that you can check out and information about all of our other shows from season 1. Now, without further ado, please enjoy the interview with Mike SUI.
Mike, welcome to How China Works. You grew up in Midwest in the US and Peking and fluent in both Chinese and English. So we can't wait actually to decode your cultural intelligence here since you have a very successful career here right now in China. And most recently, you appeared on the phenomenon Chinese science fiction movie, The Wandering Earth, 流浪地球, which is quite impressive. So our first question here today for you is, in Wandering Earth, what makes you unique for the role of Tim?
Okay, well, first of all, I think I should say hi to your audience members. Hey, everybody, my name is Mike SUI, half Chinese, half American, born in the U.S., the great Midwest, Michigan, and went to school as a kid in Beijing back in the 90s. High school back in the U.S., never went to college, and ended up pursuing an acting and entertainer's career in China. So, yep, and right now it's 2019. My movie's doing great. Played a pretty big role in The Wandering Earth. Now we got 4.4 billion in Chinese box office, number 2 in Chinese movie history. So
congratulations.
I'm really happy to be here and tell my story. So to answer your question, Ying, okay, let's see. What landed me the role? I think it's personal skills. It's my 关系, my relationship with the director, because he and I actually met 6 years ago. In 2013, when he had seen one of my internet videos. I used to make like the equivalent of YouTube videos, Youku videos, and I posted it online. He liked my skill set. He said, "Hey, you look like a funny guy. Why don't you come play in my second movie?" His second movie made 470 million RMB with a budget of 20 million. So he did really well. We worked together. That was 5 or 6 years ago. And during his second stint, or his next movie, he's like, "Hey, man, I wrote you a role," which I appreciate a lot, because being a mixed actor who looks more Caucasian than he looks Asian, it's actually hard to have continuous relationships with directors, because they choose to switch it up, or they say, "Oh, the market does not really, accept your look." So anyways, I appreciate that. He gave me the role. He basically needed me as comic relief, and I did the best I could.
Yeah, that's kind of obvious. You already demonstrated incredible talents in the multiple language skills and imitating the accent and even dialects, which is quite funny. From my eyes, that turned you into what you're doing today. Is that correct? So
My accents turned me. Yep.
Your intelligence in that, I can say probably. So can you tell us when exactly did you realize that you want to have a career like that, or you want to choose to be comedic celebrity?
A comedian, yeah. Well, first of all, I wish the viewers could see what I look like because I'm...
They will.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like 6'2.5", which is 188 centimeters, and I'm trying to look like a skinny version of The Rock. So I'm not your average comedian lookalike. When did I want to do acting and be an entertainer? I remember being a kid in China, being 7 or 8 years old. The way to be accepted by locals was to actually immerse myself in the culture and use the local language, use Chinese to entertain and to befriend people. So I developed a skill set of like telling jokes in Chinese, and then going back to the U.S., I would learn how to tell jokes in English.
The U.S. way, right?
And that way they would appreciate me more and accept me. So that actually came with my upbringing. And then, I don't know, it was actually a way to fit in. Theater, the arts, is a more accepting circle. So me going to school back in the Midwest, I actually went to high school in Wisconsin. Having a transfer student from China was very unheard of. Like, where's China?
Midwest.
Why are you here? What do you want? So it was hard to fit in. So as a teenager, using sports, acting, the arts was a good way to actually meet friends and really.
Didn't make a lot of friends over there?
At first it was really hard. At first it was funny because I'm a mix, and during my first year of high school, I had to sit at lunch. In America, when you say you sit at lunch, it means bar, to play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the only people that I would hang out with that would play with me were the foreign students, the kids that went to ESL, English as a second language.
I see.
So I'd be with Korean kids, Mexican kids, Russian kids, and I'm like, I'm American, but because my previous background was in China, so I was seen as an outsider. So, my mom wanted to find ways for me to fit in. So she said, okay, Michael, well, we're going to sign you up for theater. And once I played in the school plays and musicals, everyone was like, hey, you're actually talented. I guess we'll accept you. So
I guess they actually play a vital role in giving you, that kind of environment. Your mom actually was right to help you with the atmosphere of more theater and sports.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't fit in, you're going to be left out. And, I normally see things in both extremes. Either you become the life of the crowd, or you get left out and no one cares about you and you have no friends. I mean, some people, have, small groups of friends and whatnot. So it was actually a desire to be wanted, to have friends, to be part of the culture that drove me to integrate with the environment wherever I was. And I lived in France too. So, I had to learn French really quick and
you just love learning different languages, right?
I mean, other people don't.
I feel like you taste the sweetness of this learning process, and also you turn that into more the reality you like.
I mean, I go to Japan and I travel and I say, sorry, what noodle is good? And noodle, what noodle? I'm like, これは何回の美味しいですか? Which one tastes good? And they say, oh, this one, very good. So if they don't try hard enough to learn their language, I have to work harder instead.
Exactly. That's really, really interesting. So as someone right now with millions of followers in China on Chinese social media, so compared with the young fans in the US, for example, also people crazy for people like you, what are the key features that you understand about your fans? And right now, what they are looking for when it comes to your shows, your great videos?
Yeah, well,
what they're looking for?
First of all, I have fans in all sorts of different age groups. With the release of The Wandering Earth, this huge sci-fi, I actually have gained lots of middle school followers. Kids message me on social media. They say, "Hey, I'm in 8th grade, and I love you." And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, "Go home, kid. Go do something." But that's what they do. They want to interact with, their movie stars, because I realized that the sci-fi actually really captivates the younger audience because they watch it like it's a cartoon. They're like, "Wow, this is so cool." So my understanding of American, young people that once you're past the age of 25 or 23 in the U.S., social pressure tells you that you have to have your own life and actually have to basically live through your own lens. But in China, I feel like young people actually lack individuality, or they could do better. So I feel like there's more of a dependence on social figures, celebrities and whatnot. You see so many young people who don't really develop their personal style or personal taste.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what are your hobbies? I'm going to watch my idol's favorite, my idol's show. No, go out and do something. Yeah. Go meet with friends and hang. It's so different. I could go on.
I watched one of your most recent video, which is about the 拜年, greetings for the Chinese audience one. You were very sincere in the video in elevating, in expressing yourself and giving the 五环, the 5 rings of suggestions. That actually play a key role if you really look deeply at the message, because you're trying to tell the audience what is about being yourself, what is about being individual, right?
Yeah, well, my whole entertainment career started from the internet. So I tried to interact a lot with my followers and whatnot, and I actually tried to influence them. Right. Some people just use their followers and say, "Hey man, my followers equal my income." But I feel
how do you influence them back in the way that you want?
No, they don't really influence me. If I have an 8th grader or a middle school student text me and say, "Listen, I don't like you anymore," it doesn't really affect me. But I hope that my energy and that my messages, that my values that I convey through my videos or my written posts,
right,
can more or less affect young people and kind of give them some guidance.
Do you find being a perfect cross-cultural bridge or mixture like this, both China and the US, East and West, but also as an influencer in Chinese internet, would play a very important role in letting more people see what is social impact is about? Because you also had a video with the Korean comments actually advocating the environmental protection thing.
Yeah.
Is that what actually you
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm not a perfect mix of both cultures. Thank you.
You're very nice.
Social impact. Yeah, I feel like influencers, anyone with any level of influence should bear responsibility and actually help the public or help society and try to make it a better place. I don't like it when the rich, the famous, the influencers just shut up and just all want to quietly make money and not use that platform to affect people. I was really touched a few years ago I want to say 2.5 years ago when I heard Leonardo DiCaprio's Oscars acceptance speech for his winning role in, I don't even know the English name of the movie, the one where he was the hunter, he was fighting a bear. I forget what the English name was.
I remember. Something like a Senlin, like a forest.
I know the Chinese name, Gongye something, but I forget the English name. Was it his best acting? I don't think so. But I think the Academy felt bad and was like, I think it's time we need to give Leonardo an award. So everyone has 3, 4, 5 minutes or less to make an acceptance speech, and you want to thank everyone. I want to thank my studio, my company, the director, my friends, my agent. But he only did that for a minute, and then he used 3 minutes to actually tell people that environmentalism is something we really need to pay attention to. And if you look at his social media, he never posts about himself. He doesn't post about the brands that he is sponsored by. He shares articles with how climate change is affecting us. And I think that anyone with any level of influence should do something with it for the better good.
That's absolutely right. And you taught English in China, in your school.
Everyone has. Even people who don't speak English teach English in China.
But it seems that you have the secret.
Chinese students go home and their parents are like, okay, Xiaoming, where is your English teacher from? From Canada or from America? She says she's from Russia. Hello, I am Yulia. I come from Russia. I'm sorry. In the U.S., if I did that, that would be seen as offensive. Because American people are so sensitive now, but so easily offended. But in China, I feel like people need to loosen up and actually play with stereotypes in a playful way. I don't like the mean stereotypes.
Yeah.
But you know,
being humorous always.
I mean, you have to joke about it. And honestly, every Russian person sounds like this. and I think it is something that we need to address when you have Russian people teaching Chinese kids English.
Now I'm intrigued. I want to learn the different accent of English right now.
Oh yeah, imagine a Japanese person teaching English in China. Okay, repeat after me. 1, 2, 3. I'm done.
And don't worry, we're gonna have a time for you to do some Chinglish as well. Storytelling.
I've been doing Chinglish. Anyways, so yeah, I have taught in China. And what's your question?
My question: what are your secrets for the Chinese kids to open their mouth? Speaking is most difficult, as we know, when we study English.
Yeah, it's difficult because you don't know how to pronounce or actually, say the right sounds. When you see N-I-H-A-O, people are like, ni hao. You have to tell them there are 4 different tones. That's Chinese. But in English, they see something like, what is letter? L-E-T-T-E-R. I don't know what to say. So I always start with pronunciation. You start with small words. You start with vowels, A-E-I-O-U. And then you add R. You do combinations of vowels. And that way, when they see short words, it's like people that read signs. I see, in your studio right now, 影响力, I want to read it. But if it were a word that I didn't know how to read, I would just be quiet and never practice. So I teach people to start off really simple. I say, all right, T, it's the same sound as pinyin. T, S, S. Okay? E, look at the letter E. literally make the shape of an E, a small E with your hand. It's your mouth. Put one finger between your teeth. Have a little bit of air come out and say eh. T-E-S-T. Test. Test. Oh, okay. Now I know how to say this. And then you keep going, and then they can pronounce, hundreds of words before they even start grammar. And then you teach them the simple grammatical patterns and whatnot.
Exactly.
And they can actually go home after 3 or 4 classes. We're talking a week or 2. And then they come back and they say, I go park.
Start.
Yeah, let's add a little more in there, but they're already trying.
Exactly. So that methodology does work probably because you help them find commonality between what they have, been impressed and being influenced by, right? A lot of things in the nature, they probably already know. You just grab those factors for helping them understand better.
I don't really do that much. I mean, back when I taught English, that was, my first year in China, and, I didn't have any money, so,
You did try a lot of fun videos, I remember.
No, I tried the fun videos after teaching English seemed like a dead end.
Having fun is super important when studying English or not. So you also have great interest in dialects, right? So do you go to those regions and province areas to learn, or how do you actually manage? Travel.
Excuse me. Traveling definitely helps, but I think observation and compassion. I mean, people meet people, and you hear an accent, and so many people just just brush it off their shoulders and don't really pay attention to it. If I hear someone talk like this, sorry, where is the Junhao office building? Right away I say, you're French, right? And they, was it that obvious? Yes, it was that obvious. And I try to pick that up, and I actually try to have a conversation with them. It's not embarrassing that you have an accent.
Observation.
Yeah.
That's keen observation. And tell us more, when you were staying in the U.S., how many years you were spending time in the States?
I mean, I'm getting older now.
I don't try to
I'm
ask
33, by the way. I'm 30.
You can Google that, actually.
Yeah, you can Google it.
But
Trust Google, because on Baidu, you can change your age however you want.
What?
Yeah, the Baidu Encyclopedia, you can change it anytime you want. I think you can do that with Wikipedia, too.
Wow,
because
that's an important message for our international audience, actually.
Yeah, for free, these are free encyclopedias, so you can change the database.
So when you were in the U.S.,
I'd say half my life, a little less now, because I've been here for quite a few years since my career took off.
Right.
What do you want to know about it?
So you considered more Peking right now as your home, or?
No, I'm for sure very Beijing.
Beijinger.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm a Beijinger, Beijing-ren. I wouldn't say that but I would say Beijing 是我家, Beijing is my hometown or my home.
It's complicated.
No, it's a difference because I'm not a pure Beijing-ren. It's not because I don't want to be a Beijing-ren, but I bring in so much
different factors
stuff
from the States. Yeah. So what are the most valuable experience that you had in shaping your personality and shaping who you are today, if you're happy with who you are today, like in the the experience in the States?
In the States, I think
what culture?
I think I actually said this earlier. It was probably not fitting in and wanting to fit in, because as a teenager, I think your youth, they're very vital years that really affect who you are. I remember being in America and for some reason my mom didn't buy a car when we got there. And you're literally a weirdo if you don't have a car in the US.
You can't go anywhere.
Yeah, because everything's so far away. So either you're the poorest people, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with being poor, but, you know, I mean, sometimes the people that live in lower class neighborhoods hang out with only the lower class neighborhood kids, like doing lower class neighborhood stuff for fun. Hey, yo, you want to go steal some stuff? Yeah, cool, let's go. And that wasn't my lifestyle. You know, I lived with kids in middle class upbringing, and my house or whatever that I lived in growing up was nice, but no car. So I felt like I didn't fit in, and I would want to go hang out with friends or go to sports practice and have to take the bus for 2 hours because in smaller cities in America, the public transportation's terrible. Right. So that right away, you know, really planted a seed. Don't ever not fit in. It's not that cool to stand out. Oh. You know, I mean, every society has its own way of working, and you just put yourself in one spot, and you have to accept it. And my mom kind of chose that spot. Like, you know what? I think that our family doesn't need a car. And that really drove me crazy. So I remember that later, as I grew up a little bit, as I was almost graduating high school. I was almost 19 or 20 years old when I graduated, because I did an exchange program in France. But after I came back, my sole purpose was to just be the most looked up to among all the students. I would have parties and be like, hey, I'm the king of our high school.
You absolutely grabbed that attention.
Yeah, and then I came back to China, and I thought I was going to continue that until I realized that in the early 2000s, that being a Laowai, a foreigner in China, was nothing, you know, new or nothing to brag about anymore.
Really? So that's why one of the brands we found out over there is, like, in a lot of your shows, people call you 老外屌丝. Yeah. So what does that mean actually? It's kind of an interesting culture here.
Let me tell one more story to the
sure.
to the audience. China really had a big boom. I want to say, like, very close to the Olympics in 2008. I want to say in 2006, 2007, stuff really accelerated. Before that, I came here on vacation from high school, like 2004, 2005. And when people saw you, they'd think, okay, exchange student, Laowai exchange student, or young professional or something like that. But somehow in people's minds, I think in 06 and 07, 08, the view on Laowai changed. Unless you were old and you really looked successful, if you were like middle-aged or like a younger person out of college and you were in Beijing, they would see you as a bum, like a loser. Like, it was very obvious when I would approach women, because beforehand it was like, oh, young foreigner, hey, here's my number. And then you know, I never thought it was cool to use that as
it was just
a reason
fun, right?
to get people get someone's number. But then afterwards, it's like, hey, nice to meet you. I speak Chinese, great. And they're like, huh? But are you foreigner? I'm like, yeah, I'm half foreign. Okay, you must be broke.
What?
Because there would be so many poor young Laowai coming here to look for opportunities.
I see.
So the entire image of Laowai was just like, okay, you're not here doing big things. But now, you know, we're, 2019.
Yeah.
Obviously, more and more people are coming to China to actually stay here to develop long careers.
Exactly.
So it's harder to judge an entire group.
Right. I would also say depend on the Chinese audience or Chinese netizen or audience cognitive understanding about the world has maybe changed ever since 2008
and
Olympic. From time to time.
Social media is really blown up since the Weibo area, since late 09, and everyone joined in 2010, 2011. And you can see so much stuff and understand so much about the world that no one's really impressed by much. But going back to your question, you were asking me about 老外屌丝, which was a word that was kind of popular between 2011 and 13. And I didn't even know what that word meant.
Because people gave you, right? It's
I made a video.
Kind of like a brand.
I made a video, and my friend said, "Let's make the title." And what's funny is 屌丝 can be a noun, and it means kind of like a nobody, a loser.
Or grassroots. Something like grassroots.
Grassroots.
Kind of like that.
屌丝 is really kind of a bad
hippie,
word.
A little bit hippie.
Oh, no, not hippie at all. No.
So how do you describe that style, that 屌丝, so-called when people...
屌丝, here's the thing, when someone calls themselves a 屌丝, that means that, hey, listen, I'm kind of no one, like, I'm kind of, the bottom of the pond. Like 池子底下, not 草根儿. It's kind of making fun of yourself, saying it's poking fun at yourself, because once you don't raise the expectations of the person or the people that you're speaking with, they're like, okay, he already put himself down, we're not going to do it even more to him. But when someone else says, 你就是一屌丝, like you're a frickin' loser. So,
it used to have a lot of this kind of mentioning in social media, but most recently we don't have a lot of...
because the first letter isn't a very sophisticated character.
Got you.
But my friend gave me that title. He said, hey, you know what? That's actually going to really resonate with the viewers. They're going to really enjoy it if you make fun of yourself. And I didn't even know what it meant. So, and I think that when I typed in the title for my video that blew up overnight, I typed in 老外屌丝, and it was actually supposed to be 屌丝老外. So 屌丝 should actually be more of an adjective. So... it's a lost word.
That's quite interesting.
Viewers, you don't need to learn this word and try not to be one of those.
But it represents a kind of like cultural phenomenon in China back then, right?
Yeah, back then.
But now we're talking about 2019.
Yeah.
You have been featured in Wandering Earth. So, from my understanding, among the group, the crew actually, the production team, maybe a lot of are millennials like me, 80后. Is that correct? So
young professionals born in the 80s.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
In China, there are these words 80后, 90后, which means you're born in the 80s, you're born in the 90s, and it puts you in an age group.
So people already know you are 中年油腻男 or something like that.
Yeah. So if you're born in the 90s, you're supposed to be getting married right now. If you're born in the 80s, you definitely need to have a family and kids right now. I mean, all these different age groups.
That's a perception in the Chinese society. So as someone come from your background, which one do you prefer, or do you see yourself more in? Like millennials, US millennial or Chinese millennial?
I don't fit in with either. I actually feel like Americans settle down faster than Chinese people. The divorce rates in China are super high because people get married just because their parents tell them to in China. And in America, I feel like people are actually more traditional. Hey, I'm almost 30. my girlfriend of 5 years, I want to settle down. But in China, everything's changing so quick. People around you, the economy, opportunities, your job situation, social media. Everyone's looking at Douyin, looking at these stupid 15-second videos. I hate them because they're so shallow. It promotes a sense of just information overload. And with that, you start to develop this this habit where you're like, okay, look, well, I don't need to appreciate the long-lasting things. So people become a lot more, there's a word in Chinese called 浮躁.
浮躁.
Just less grounded. And so I feel Chinese people are young people are a little less grounded right now.
So how could they make a little change of that? How can they get out of this?
Well, first of all, so many people form families out of peer pressure because their parents want to hold their grandchildren. I mean, I'm 33, my dad's 60, my mom's 67, and I ask him, I say, you want to hold grandchildren? And my mom's like, no. I feel like she might want to. So, and my dad,
what a mom.
My dad's Chinese. He definitely wouldn't mind. He would love it.
Do you find this kind of family environment help you, or in some way give you a tremendous environment, tremendous way for you to grow?
I don't feel like it helped at all. I feel like it's good to have both sides as perspective and to compare the two sides and appreciate
who you are, right? Who you really are.
Then my parents were understanding, and I want to share with young people that you don't necessarily have to conform with your parents' views because it's your own life. And I have a younger cousin. He's 30. He's already divorced, and he's clueless. And I tell him, go date people. Just go on dates and learn how to interact with people. It's not about giving your mom, a daughter-in-law to look at.
Exactly. I think that's quite important. Do you find there are many other Mike Sui here in China, or at least the emerging trend? There's a lot of other Laowai I'm trying to also, if not say influencing back, at least they could help Chinese to be more socially aware or more, like anti this kind of trend as someone who they can help bring the different cultures.
Are there many more Mike Suis? Maybe. Are there many more Laowais? Maybe. Mike Sui does not equal Laowai. Let me make that clear.
Like you.
I'm not a pure foreigner. Are there lots of wannabe Mike Suis? Yes. I'm sorry, I have a very cocky grin on my face right now. People want to...
Do you see that happening in China and more? And how could they actually make an impact in China in terms of
Do I see young people actually wanting to copy the formula of how I gained a certain level of popularity? Yes. Do I see people with a sense of social responsibility? Not so much. I see lots of young foreigners who are talented, who are funny, who speak the language pretty well, but what they're doing is they're doing what I did when I was 15. They're trying to fit in. They're kissing ass. They're saying, this is what China would like. Oh, a funny Laowai speaking Chinese and being cute and really understanding what the locals want. No, that's not true. China actually wants to see your individuality, wants to see who you are, wants to see your culture, but conveyed in a way that Chinese people can understand, because they don't know Chinese people don't really know what Italian culture is like. They have no clue. So use your language skills, use your desire to communicate, to convey your values, your culture, and actually share stuff and be a bridge instead of just being here and trying to fit in. They're at the base stages of making a change, or actually becoming of great influence.
Right.
But it doesn't mean, I'm not knocking on them. It doesn't mean that in the future they won't come to realize.
We hope to.
Yeah. I hope, because, and here's one thing. Not everyone gets the opportunity to experience different cultures and to be able to share it with different groups of people, because it takes language skills. It takes what you said, cultural intelligence, to actually care about these things. Some people, you see young black kids that speak perfect Chinese, but if they don't grow up caring about the environment or their surroundings, they're not going to help change or change people's views.
Like the famous saying, like, ask not what the country can do for you, ask what it can do for the country. I think same applies to anyone who want to live in the society in a better way, right?
Yeah.
To see. It's not just about being comfortable.
Was that a Chinese saying? Ask not what the
No,
country...
that's a famous quote from the president, Kennedy,
Oh.
I guess.
The U.S. president?
Yeah.
Sounds very
Big.
hard on the ears.
But, it's really trying to advocate citizens to be more socially more aware and to participate, the reform and changing everything.
Yeah.
It's very important to know someone like you. How would you describe yourself at this point, as someone who can shift between cultures and make this particular or unique impact? So how do you describe, are you already fish out of water or fish in the water, just like fish in water, 如鱼得水 already? Or are there challenges? Are there still something that you want to conquer or you want to get in order to better fulfill your real purpose in your life?
Well,
see the next 10 years.
Here's the thing. People have different scaled goals. And when talking about purpose and whatnot, one of the biggest purposes is to give your family a better life. And I'm not doing a great job. I've had years wasted during my career where I just lived life and enjoyed short stardom. And I'm sure everyone would do that. And I'm happy that right now I have a better sense of responsibility. So I'm going to weigh out my options right now. I have to take care of my family and try to help make people around me, society, and the place that people know me in a better place. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I have a long way to go.
I am sure. And as we're wrapping up in 2019, this particular year, with what's really going on between China and US, right? We have been...
What's going on?
That's hard. That's another episode, actually. We have been talking about it all the time. We're trying to see more people who have the capability in bridging the gaps and also in bring the two countries together, because it sounds very big, but actually it is super connected with everyone who have that intelligence and capability. So what would you say to the people from both China side and the US side when it comes to them advocating them do something for bringing
first of all,
together?
I think this is probably going to end my career in China. Okay, so here we go. A country doesn't represent you. Okay, it's only a piece of paper. Earth is becoming smaller and smaller. We're getting closer and closer. Different religions, different skin colors, different backgrounds, different nationalities. We're all the same. We all bleed. We all die. And it just takes love and care and a will to understand people. Everyone has struggles. And if you understand that we all have struggles in life, that we really never figure out how life is, you'll understand that an American and a Chinese person, we're much more similar than we actually think we are. So I hope that people can just stay open-minded and not judge people as a big group. If you ever have a chance to meet someone from a different culture, really stay open-minded, open your arms wide, bring them in, listen to their story, and share your story. Be proud of who you are, of, how you were brought up. And, your stories might affect people way more than you expect. Just like I hope, my interview right now can possibly inspire or, open some people's minds a little bit.
It does. That's the best advice I heard for a long time. So we really appreciate, I can't thank you enough, but we really hope at this moment you have much more to share with us in the future. And also I hope all your cross-cultural ventures will go super successful so you can impact more people positively in the whole world. Thank you so much, Mike.
All right. Thank you, Yingchang, the influence. And
thank you so much.
2019 holds great things for you. And viewers, stay healthy, stay happy, and good luck.
Comedic actor and host in China who became famous for his 12 Beijingers viral video released in 2012. We're putting the link below for you to take a look and laugh. Most recently appeared on the Chinese science fiction movie, The Wandering Earth, 流浪地球. Our guest today is multilingual and multi-talented Mike Sui. Through his ever-influential cross-cultural engagement, he is one of the best examples of using East meets West cultural intelligence to push society to be healthier and happier, not just harmonious. We are very grateful to have him on our show. And dear listeners, if you want to recommend anyone, including yourself, who are excellent cross-cultural thinkers, enablers that can inspire, please leave comments, contact us through our social media accounts or our website, howchinaworkspodcast.com. We love to hear from you. I am Ying Li. See you next week on How China Works.